Today is December 8th. The Cobra is a Hall of Famer. The winter meetings are underway. Moves even got kicked off Saturday. Let's get things going. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I'm joined as always by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
What's up, man? Yeah, I was gonna say, if you weren't wearing that shirt tonight, I was gonna be upset.
If you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys bopping. Dave Parker is a Hall of Famer, Jake.
Yeah, I think we were looking at it for sure, 100%. Yeah. We were looking at it. I got a little skeptical at times, but man, dude deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's in.
I mean, and he's in. So
no more wondering, no more talking about it, no more curious of whether or not it's going to happen while he's still with us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know if there would have been another chance.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works.
I think once you go on the Veterans Committee, that's your last chance.
Your last chance, yeah.
Yeah. Dick Allen was also inducted today, so two of them today in this Veterans Committee, or Classic Baseball Era, or whatever it's called, committee. Two of them, Dick Allen, Phillies, long time, a couple other teams, also born and raised in Western PA, just below Newcastle. So, okay. Another guy. Bucko Mike says the best player of the 70s gets in. Him and I were messaging back and forth a little bit earlier today, and I was like, I agree, other than like Willie Stargell and Hank Aaron and the other guy that I said. Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
And maybe even Dick Allen. If you look at the numbers, you put it in on StatHead, and you 70 to 79, you look at the numbers, OPS plus, Dick Allen's also above him. So, yeah. I mean, there's more things than OPS plus.
Yeah, maybe just put one of in front of your statement there, Mike.
He is. Well, there is no best.
You're in there.
I mean, Willie Stargell was the best, but there was no best. So,
yeah,
I think that's maybe one of the things that was playing against him for a while is that, maybe the best player of the 70s was on his team.
Yeah.
But he was the young guy, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, Pops was those were his age 30 to 39 years. And for Dave Parker, like, he's busting in I think, 73 as a 22-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And he's electric. You know what I'm saying? He's at the top. And he had that 5-year span where, he also loses 3 seasons from 70 to 79 as well. Because he didn't make his debut till 73. So when you look at, what I mean? I was not doing counting stats. I was looking at OPS plus. I think that's kind of, in my opinion, that's like the general, like, how were you compared to your peers? You know what I mean? And so he was obviously an incredible player in the 70s, and this took too long.
Yeah, I agree.
This took too long. So I believe, unless I'm wrong, I believe he goes in as a Pirate.
I don't know if he's made. He gets a choice, and I don't know if he's made it
Well,
yet. But
all the pictures and everything have him in there as a Pirate.
It looks like that, but until he comes out and says it, I do believe.
Yeah, looks like he. He got his MVP with the Pirates. Gold Gloves. He got a couple silver sluggers in Cincinnati, and he won a World Series with Oakland in '89. But it's Pirates. That's when he did his damage. So got the one in '78. Yeah, the MVP. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, not an All-Star in '78 too. I thought that was funny when I was looking at it, but he was close a couple times to MVP in '75 and '77, but he got the one in '78.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Really exciting. Obviously, kind of something that has been a thing around Pittsburgh for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Dave Parker should be in. And it just hasn't, until now, hasn't been true. There we go. I'm not sure. OG says he was asked what cap he'd wear, and his first response today was, I'm not sure. But OG also believes the Pirates cap. I'd be surprised if it's not.
Me too.
He had some good years in Cincinnati, though. I mean, he really
The only other hat I could see him wearing is the MLB hat.
The MLB hat.
Picking a team, yeah.
Yeah.
Been a couple guys do that lately.
11 years with Pittsburgh, just 4 with Cincinnati, 2 with Oakland, and 3 different teams for a year.
Yeah, I can't imagine him not wearing the Pirates hat.
I say a year pretty loosely. He played 13 games with Toronto. In the same year that he played for the California Angels. Yeah, he's going to be in a Pittsburgh hat. Weird. I know, like Cincinnati, he was a big time player in Cincinnati too. So anyway, he's going to the Hall of Fame one more time, everybody. That's awesome. I'm sure the Pirates will do something special this summer too. So there's going to be something. Yeah. There's going to be something done at PNC Park. They're not going to give up an opportunity to get a few extra people in the stands. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah.
For the record, nothing to drink for me tonight. Water.
So you water. Drink something.
Yeah, like no root beer, no. I've got cream sodas, but Pepper. There you go. Yeah. Just for the record, I didn't have anything. I'm feeling a little. I ate a lot for dinner. I'm feeling a little heavy. So I was like, I don't think it's a good day.
That was me the other day. Yeah. I couldn't hardly. I went to go to bed that night, and I was like, I couldn't even get comfortable.
Yeah. So just not today. So hey, man, winter meetings are on. We're going right now.
Yeah, that's if you see me looking up like this. The winter meetings coverage is on my TV. So
yeah, you're right. I should probably keep Twitter open, right? That would be it. So there's obviously some things going on, some some moves already being made. Several guys already signed. I don't know where we want to start. I mean, we don't have to cover all these guys, obviously. You know what I mean? So it's not a thing. So the Pirates minor league deals, a couple relievers, Hunter Stratton, which we talked about, was going to happen. And it seems like that was done like a while ago and just nobody knew. I think it was actually done on the 2nd or something like that. But anyway, reported now, Hunter Stratton comes back on a minor league deal. And Tanner Rainey also minor league deal. So another reliever. Just these are good depth things. You know what I'm saying? Just throw minor league deals in there. Minor league relievers are always good to have. They'll get invited to spring training. They'll be your Brent Honeywell of this year and so on. Maybe they get a shot, maybe they don't, kind of thing. So, you know, it's one of those things. Always good to have that kind of hey, Jim Rosati is down there in the winter meetings lobby right now. Jim, throw anything you want in here that you're hearing. Let's get some kind of scoop. Let's do something like that. Let's we got to get the Pirates moving on things.
You're in the lobby. Let people see what you're watching, man.
Yeah. Obviously, the big contract right now is Willy Adames, 7 years, $182 million. That's the largest Giants contract ever. So, you know, in the light of some things that are coming down and about to happen sometime soon, we would think, talking about Soto, before the Pirates shocked the world with the Soto signing, let's say it that way. Right now, this is kind of the biggest contract out there. At least I think. Yeah. I mean, I guess surprisingly, no audio. Popped in to say hi. Go Bucks. All right, Jim. We give him a thumbs up here. No audio, so he doesn't know any idea what we're saying. Always appreciate that. So, Bucko Mike says Sherrington's on vacation, so we're basically we're holding it down, I guess, the podcasters. But yeah, I mean, Sherrington's got to get moving. We've already seen one. We'll talk about that in a second. Another surprising one, Jake, was Luis Severino, 3-year deal with the A's, who've already been turned down by Walker Buehler for saying, I'm not pitching in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But what did the A's have to do, Jake? 3 years, $67 million for Luis Severino.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's hefty, which he's a good pitcher. He's not worth that.
Right.
Hey, you'd have to overpay anyone to go play in Sacramento right now.
I think, and that's where they're at. And so I guess that brings up our question, right? What do the Pirates have to do? They're going to have to show some money. They're going to have to pay a little bit if they want to. Yeah. We saw last winter meetings, there was a ton of deals that just didn't get done. They just missed on, I don't know, what we say, like 4 or 5 guys. That it was, we were in on them, but we just missed. You know what I mean? The biggest of them being some lefty pitching like Shota and Manaya. And I thought there was one other one out there too. And for some reason, I can never remember. But they were in on guys and they don't get them. And, you know, we were very critical of this, saying sooner or later, you've got to cross the finish line on one of these. You can't just stock up on we were in. Or we tried. Actually, we tried, right? Fangraphs has a new thing that they're doing. It's just like a Google Sheets, right? But it's called the We Tried. I don't know if it's a meter or let me see. I'll find my way there as we talk. But We Tried thing. Fangraphs We Tried tracker. And it's basically just all these teams who say, and I think it was kind of probably sparked by Boston kind of claiming that they're in, right? So they've got this, matter of fact, let me see. For those of you on video, I'll even show you a little bit of what it looks like here. But they've got this We Tried tracker where they basically are showing all the guys who are signing here. And then they've got this, you know, he told us he didn't want to play in Sacramento. It was this Athletics one. and they're linking it. So right now, Pirates haven't tried on any of the guys that are signed. I don't think that's a surprising thing, but this is going to be something to take a look at
So
And
that's not just people who have signed. Like Walker Bueller isn't signed. It's anybody who's been offered a contract.
well, it's anybody who's been in the news, right? So he's on there because he told the Athletics, I'm not pitching in Sacramento. So yeah, he's the only one. I think everybody else has been signed, right? Bieber went to the Guardians, and this is Boston saying they missed out. I don't know. It's interesting. It doesn't actually say who they signed with, because Danny Jansen signed with Tampa, and it's over here marked Chicago Cubs. We're in on the mix, but didn't get this done. Right. So that's what they're going to do. So that would have hit with like Shota. That would have hit with Sean Manaea. Those are the two kind of notable ones. There was a few others too that I'm just not remembering now. And it was last year. So what's it matter? But the idea is like, I think it's hilarious that they're even doing this. They've got this We Tried tracker up, which actually gives us, a little bit of an idea to look at it and say, okay, is it good to be on this list a lot, or is it bad to be on this list a lot? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bucko Mike says Pirates lead and We Tried. And I actually would say Boston does, or maybe the Giants, because they're in on the big names, right? But basically it's, you know what I mean? The Pirates are in on the guys that they're in on, but you'd like to see them in on more. Like we haven't seen that they were in on Tyler O'Neill.
Right. I think with the We Tried, is it good or bad to be on there a lot? It just depends on if you're actually signing some people. If you're signing people and you're on it a lot that We Tried, that's fine. You're at least getting people.
Right. And and it would show like, hey, you've been aggressive.
Yeah.
But until you can cross the finish line with anything, it's all kind of meaningless aggression. It's basically like, you just dipped your toe in to say you dipped your toe in.
Yeah.
But you weren't willing to actually go the length.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is what a lot of people thought with the Soto kind of stuff, is that there's going to be some teams that are going to be early exits on this thing. Right. And so far, Toronto and Boston, as I assume that those were the two teams, are still in. With the two New York teams and the Dodgers. And from all reports I'm seeing on Soto, the Dodgers are actually offering the least. So, which is unsurprising, I think, to everybody.
Yeah.
Unless you're, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's not unsurprising. It's unsurprising to me. I can't imagine it continuing. I think there is a line for everyone. They've already blown past any line that anybody else would set. But, you know what I'm saying? And I think they really like Teoscar, and I know there's some other guys interested there too, but I think they just want Teoscar. But I think they have some ideas of what they want to do.
That's mutual.
Yeah, exactly.
Teoscar said, "I want to be back here." And
well, anybody that's about to be a free agent, especially for the Dodgers, is going to want to say they want to come back. But yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
but I think I even said, like, why wouldn't you want to be playing for the Dodgers?
Right. Gary Sanchez goes to the Orioles, as does Tyler O'Neill. So obviously, I don't think the Pirates are looking for a catcher, but Tyler O'Neill going to the Orioles, 3 years, 49.5 with an opt out after the first year. Essentially could be a 1-year deal. Jake, that's not a whole lot of money.
It's not, but does that open up maybe one of their top tier prospects, or
I don't think so right now.
In?
Maybe, but they lost Santander. So this is like a replacement for Santander in a way.
He played a lot of first base too.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he did that. How did I miss that?
I'm almost positive he played a good bit of first.
Yeah?
Of course, I'm wrong a lot, so.
Well, it's fair. He played a lot of... Keep going.
But, I mean, like, you got...
He played one inning at first base.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I swear.
In 2024, last year, he played 72 innings. He played 12 games at first the year before that. He's played 13 games total in his career at first base.
Dang, I thought he was playing there. Shows you how much I pay attention to, like,
the Orioles,
their games.
Right.
I thought that's why he went off on home runs. I thought they brought him to the infield.
He was DHing a lot, right? I mean, they don't put that on the defensive deal. So I'd have to go to their team because then I can look at defense. But anyway, he's kind of like the replacement there for Santander.
But Santander was also
25 games at DH, 130 in left. Or I mean in right field. I'm sorry.
He also blocked some of those guys too. So then they just replaced him with them with Tyler O'Neill. They might be more willing to part ways with a Colton Cowser or Heston Kjerstad.
Yeah, I would think maybe a Kjerstad who is kind of the mostly blocked. I would think because Colton Cowser's played 109 games in left field and won a Gold Glove.
Yeah,
so I would think they would keep him. They would keep him around for that. So I don't know, man. It is interesting to see what they're going to do. I mean, Kjerstad is going to continue to be blocked.
Mm-hmm.
But think about their outfield right now. I mean, Santander wasn't, a great outfielder defensively. And now you've got, Colton Cowser did win the Gold Glove. Am I right? I don't want to be crazy here. Did he just miss out? He was a finalist. He did not win it. Thought he won it.
Well, at least he was a finalist, not like he played.
Oh, now I'm double checking that.
I thought that's what you were doing.
I saw that it didn't have the Gold Glove there, but you don't know unless you just go look it up. So that's what I'm going to do. He was a finalist. Stephen Kwan got it. That's right. Again. So yeah, no, he did not. He did not win a Gold Glove. I think I've said that before, but Gold Glove caliber left field. And then Tyler O'Neill, who does have a Gold Glove in left field.
Yeah.
But, to what Bucko Mike said here, Orioles are going after it. I mean, it sure does feel like it. They still need to get pitching. And I think that's their biggest hole. I think they probably would have been fine without Gary Sanchez or Tyler O'Neill. Like they would have been fine if they could have gone out and gotten, like Corbin Burns is gone now. Like, unless you're going to bring Corbin Burns back or you're going to go out and get somebody else. And it's that's going to be tough.
Yeah. And I don't think Gary Sanchez really moves the needle all that much.
No, I mean, he's a great backup catcher.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to play for them, but it's Tyler O'Neill who the Pirates missed out on. A lot of people had Tyler O'Neill kind of on their list, as well as that's one that we talked about pretty heavily. A guy that, can bring power to this lineup. He's not left-handed, but he still does bring power to the lineup.
Yeah.
And they're going to need a left-handed power bat. And maybe I'm trying to paint a silver lining around the cloud. Am I right? Maybe that's what they're focusing on. And they say, if we're paying that, we're getting a lefty. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting too. I don't know. But I don't like you get the best player. I know you need a lefty.
You'll deal with the lefty second. You face more right-handers, and the Pirates against right-handed pitching need a lot of power. You're going to get some of that from O'Neill Cruz, but they just didn't get it last year. And so when and that's the majority of the guys you're going to face. And so that's why I think, and you can get it from anywhere, right? But if you're in on the best first baseman available, that's maybe reasonable. It's Christian Walker, who's a right-handed hitter. So now you're kind of limiting a little bit to where you even go there. You can talk about, there's plenty more to talk about. So Gary Sanchez and the Rays signed Danny Jansen for about the same money, $8.5 million. What else did we have on this list? Guardians re-signed Shane Bieber, 2 years, $26 million, opt out. Well, it's a player option, I guess. There's a difference between a player option and an opt out. I don't remember what it is. And then the other one we wanted to bring up here was Clay Holmes. He signed 3 years, $38 million, opt out after 26 after the second year, and they intend to use him as a starter. We talked about this last week and how it was possibly something that they were going to do, and here we are. He didn't quite get the $15 million that we thought, though. $13 million a year for 2 years. His third year is $12 million, but he has an opt out before that. So If it works out as a starter, he's opting out.
Yeah.
But that's the Mets. And you know what I mean? I'm actually surprised that the Mets are going down that path of all teams. Like, you're in on Soto, you're bringing in Clay Holmes as a starter.
Yeah, it doesn't. You just lost Severino.
You lost Severino, you lost Minaya. So like there's some holes there in the rotation. I get it, but I would have expected the Mets to be in on some guys better than that. There's a lot of focus right now. This is the thing about the Soto deal and why they want to get it done so fast. There's so much focus on this. Boston actually wanted to they were interested in bringing Tyler O'Neill back. Never made an offer. They've already made it clear that their number one focus is on Soto, and then they'll do everything else. Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, you missed out on a player because you've been so like, I don't have time for that, basically. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're going to miss out. And we know that like Blake Snell would have been a good fit in Boston too. I don't have time for that. Like, we're not even going to go there until the Soto chip falls. Yeah. And, you know, their next one is Max Fried. And then what are we going to do there? Right. So it'd be nice to be able to play with that kind of money in this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Never going to happen in Pittsburgh.
I wouldn't say never, but it will eventually.
Playing with that kind of money?
The kind of money that puts
if they
you
put a cap on this, it's not going to put on, like, you're never going to see these contracts again.
Oh yeah, you will. What Blake Snell and Max Fried are going to get?
Oh no, I guess you're right. Yeah.
And you'll see all the other ones too, because the cap, I mean, you set a cap in baseball, it's not going to be $100 million.
Right, obviously.
So, I mean, they're still going to get paid. But we're going to have a ton more money coming in.
Yeah.
If they put a cap on it. Because what you have to, you know, we've talked about this a lot. And if you want, you know, more, you're going to probably find it somewhere else. But essentially, you're never getting a salary cap until you get shared revenue. Like right. A central revenue. Not just, we have shared revenue. It's not a ton. And you could never, like, a floor is set at like 80 to 90% of what the cap is. So you just set a cap at 300 million and the Pirates are like, well, see ya, we're moving. I'm not going to stay in Pittsburgh. I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they should be able to spend a lot more than what they are right now, but to say they have to spend 280 million or whatever is like, well, I'm just moving. So, yeah. but the idea is that the central revenue will be all the TV deal will go through MLB. They'll disperse everything evenly and everybody will have the same money to spend. So whatever, we'll get there eventually. I don't know when. 10 years.
It's going to be a minute. Yeah. It's going to be a minute.
It's going to shut down before it happens. I'll tell you that much. So, which sucks. I don't know if they better push it out because if baseball does that in 26, I don't know that baseball recovers in the way that they're going right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, not at all the topic for this discussion. I do not even want to go down that. I don't even want to go down that. We are speculating on winter meeting stuff. We're talking about Pirates moves and whether or not they'll do anything. So with that said, you've got a list of deals on the table or already in the books or whatever. The pens, meat, and paper are down there. And you've basically heard nothing from the Pirates. Did something just happen?
Conforto to the Dodgers.
Okay, so the Dodgers are out on Soto. The Dodgers are completely out on Soto then.
Yeah, they don't. Golly.
So Conforto to the Dodgers.
Conforto to the Dodgers. Sawinski's starting right field. We don't need to do anything else.
We're done?
We're done.
We're done. Okay. Pirates are done.
The season's over. Pack it in.
So this is actually, it's early, right? It's early in our show because this is where we were headed. You missed out on Tyler O'Neill. Our next move was Michael Conforto. Michael Conforto's gone. Where do we go now? I mean, these were kind of the two guys that I thought really moved the needle for the Pirates a little bit in a way that I thought they were good fits.
You have to go for first. You got to fill first base now.
Yeah, you got to fill first base.
Like, it's not an option to bring in two outfielders and move Reynolds to first. Like, Reynolds
not make the team better and not make the team better. You'll be hurting in the outfield. Like you said, you're going to have Jack Sawinski starting every day. You're going to rely on that. Him and Billy Cook, and bring in one guy. And who's that one guy going to be? I mean, I'm a big fan of Jock Peterson. Not a great outfielder though. I don't know how you go down that path.
Yeah.
So what, the way I'm saying is let's put Jock Peterson on the board here. Let's get him on the phone. We've got to have that lefty power. And then maybe if you have to platoon, now we're focusing on two outfielders for one position, Jake.
And I kind of like the Jock move because I feel like there's a lot of comps between him and Sawinski. Right? I think Sawinski could be that type of guy.
The only difference between the two is probably, I think Sawinski's a much better outfielder defensively.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Jock is absolute clutch, and Sawinski hasn't quite found that yet. He's done a lot of damage in like some games that were already out of hand or whatever. And so there's been a lot, because there's been some criticism of that, right? And so with that there, I
just think they're pretty similar. Clutch gene aside, you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of more of that's not, in my opinion, it's not athletic ability. That's not how good of a baseball player are you. That's another level, right? Of grade evaluating a player, like that clutch gene.
Yeah.
But I can just see that those two have just a lot of similarities. They're both power lefty bats that they're not going to hit for super high average. They're going to hit you home runs, hopefully when they mean something. Just that kind of. But Sawinski's better in the outfield. So
anyway,
I think Sawinski could learn a little bit from Jock.
Yeah, that's
how
fair.
to be a little more consistent.
So Robert Murray on Twitter has 1 year, $17 million. Okay, that's the Conforto deal. Does that tick you off even more?
Yeah,
you got Tyler O'Neill and Michael Conforto, two guys that a lot of us thought were in play for the Pirates, and they've proven to be in play for the Pirates. Both of them south of $20 million. This to me is frustrating.
Yeah.
This to me is frustrating.
I can't wait to see if we were even talking to him.
Right. Yeah. Where do you go now? Let's, dude, I'm telling you right now, Conforto and Teo, and they've got their outfield in LA. They're out on Soto, seemingly. Why wouldn't you be at this point?
Right.
I know it's a 1 year deal, so it doesn't have to be. You could absolutely not. You could still get him and just have an absolute ridiculous lineup. You absolutely could do that.
Yeah, it says the club still remains in on fellow free agent Teo.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Which questions, like I said, the everything else. You know what I mean?
The rich get richer.
Unreal, man. All right, so this is a good point, and probably a good time to come here. Bucko Mike says, Josh Naylor and Lane Thomas deal opens up. So let's talk down this path, because this has been a conversation piece, and a lot of people have brought this up. Cleveland has basically shopped these two guys, at least a little bit, saying that they're going to listen. And so what are your options to go to Cleveland and say, you get a 1 year deal with Naylor and Lane Thomas, and bring them in and see what that takes, as far as, like, you're not bringing in free agents, right? You're going on the trade market. What do you get from these two players that you can get with the other one? I think, Bucko Mike, if you pair this with if you pair this with a Jock Peterson signing, I love it. Because now you have a Lane Thomas, Jock Peterson platoon in right field. Jack Sawinski has his option, right? And let's get him going in the minor leagues. But you've got Reynolds and you've got Cruz, and you have that in right field. That's a solid outfield. And Josh Naylor's not a slump. Or not a slump. Yeah, of course he's not a slump. He's not a slouch. Like, this is a good player with a lot of power. And, as much as 31 homers in Cleveland. And they're not cheap most of the time. Like, I could care less for the antics that much, but in general, he's a good hitter. He would open up.
He's not terrible on defense either, is he?
No, I don't think it's not terrible. But the thing is they have Manzardo. He's got 1 year left. This is what you have to do. You have to try to restock. So the Pirates are going to have to send something over there. Likely some pitching. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's because that's what they do. And I don't know, man. I just think that this could be a good option. Like, you've got to feel real good about your lineup if that's the case. And it does open up the ability to say, okay, well, Brian Reynolds could play some first base too. You've got some other guys that could get in the mix in the outfield. Maybe if like Billy Cook or Nick York is up there as a specifically Nick York to back up the infield and the corners of the outfield. You can give them some time. You have Lane Thomas in left. You have Nick York in right, something like that. With Reynolds at first, you could have those options for Reynolds to play a little bit of first base. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't hate that kind of a move at this point, because now you're saying, well, we've already missed out on two of the bigger guys that are immediate. Put them in and go. And so the problem is there's not many guys left who are middle of the order guys. There's guys left who are good players and that will help your team. But like, you can put Naylor and even Lane Thomas, if he's playing against lefties, you can put them guys in 3, 4, 5 holes and not feel bad about it.
I must be thinking of Lane Thomas's game being different, because I didn't think he was a middle of the order guy. I thought he was a bottom or top.
Well, okay,
I thought he was a speed guy that just kind of got on base.
Yeah, I will say this. I mean, he had 15 home runs last year and 28 the year before that and 17 the year before that. Okay. So like, there's some pop there. I was surprised to see the stolen base numbers. He had 32 steals last year. So he is fast. And I was actually surprised to see that. He's 28 years old. He's going into his age 29 season. He's a little bit beyond the, like as a young speedster, you know what I'm saying? But like 20 steals the year before and 32 this year. So like, he's running, right? Mm-hmm. He's played some center field. I don't know how much he played center field last year. Let me look. Where are we at here? Standard fielding. I mean,
I thought he played a lot of center field, to be honest. But
for Cleveland,
Santander played first.
For Cleveland, he played 43 games in center field and 18 in right. For Washington, it was 74 in right and 3 in center field. So Cleveland did use him a lot in center field, which means he's an option out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's definitely there. But I don't know. I don't know how far you go. Okay, so this is one of the trades there, and you can say, okay, I'm gonna guess maybe Luis Ortiz is in the mix for a trade. He seems like a guy that people want to get in on. People have speculated him probably of the most. A lot of control there. Seems to have figured things out. I think a lot of people are in on that. But I think the Naylor and Lane Thomas deal could be good for the Pirates. It is a 1-year Band-Aid. It gives you an opportunity to look at Reynolds at first base a little bit. And for those of us who believe that the long-term position for Reynolds being first base is great, you know what I'm saying? Then I think maybe you go after the 1-year deal kind of thing. It's not good for the future, but it is, you got to do something that makes you good now. You can't just say like, well, I'm not going to make a move unless it's good for the future. You can't do that. You have to go after what you can get. And if this is something that you can get your hands on, this makes the team better.
Yeah. I'd like to see us go after Tristan Cassis a little more than the Naylor route. But I mean,
well, we can talk about that next.
I'm not a big fan of Josh Naylor, but he would make the team better. Like, I'm not going to deny that. I just don't like the antics, dude's crazy.
He's crazy.
But, I mean, production-wise, he makes this lineup better. And that's bottom line. That's what we're looking to do, is make the team better.
Yeah. So I'm looking for what Cleveland did with Lane Thomas. Looks like 14 times he hit second. He did not hit leadoff. So he hit 2, and then he hit 23 times in the 5 hole. Yeah, 6 times in the 7 hole. I mean, it looks like he's kind of moving around. And these are starting lineup spots, right? So it looks like most of the time in the 5 hole, which I feel like would be there. But, the thing about Lane Thomas is if you got to go to the splits, you know what I mean? That's basically it. Because he mashes lefties, and he has, you know what I mean, for the better part of his career, I think. Let me actually just look at his career. Well, last year, where's the league relative to the player? So league OPS plus against lefties 147, and then against righties 81. So a little less against righties. It's hard to look at the actual counting numbers because you get a lot more at bats against lefties, against righties.
Yeah,
but that's pretty similar to his career. Being a 107 OPS plus hitter for his career, he's a 137 facing left-handers. So as far as in comparison to the rest of the league, he's 37% better than a replacement player against lefties. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what you're getting there. I don't know. Like I said, it's a 1-year deal thing, but I think it's a doable thing. You can probably, here you go. Bucko Mike's already got it for us. He's trading IKF, so I don't know what he's doing here. But he's got Luis Ortiz, IKF, and a prospect for Lane Thomas and Big Josh. So, I mean, maybe that's a deal. Maybe there's some other ones out there. But you could package something around Luis Ortiz and maybe a younger pitcher. Maybe it's one of the guys that are close, like Ashcraft, or maybe it's because then if you go Ashcraft and Luis Ortiz, you might almost be done. Maybe throw in another guy just to give them more. But if you're taking all their money, you might be able to do that. Like if you pay them what they're going to make, which is I think both of them are going to arbitration, so I don't even think they're locked in. So you would just be going to arbitration with them, and they don't have to pay anything for them. They get Luis Ortiz, they get a up and coming starter. Maybe they do something like that. Maybe you throw like another player in there somewhere. I don't know, but I'm not good with the trade stuff. It's probably not IKF though.
Yeah.
The Pirates are going to keep a hold of IKF. Yeah, it's going to be a prospect. I think the Pirates keep a hold of IKF. But I'm not saying I want them to. I'm just saying is what I think they're going to do. They can't really get rid of IKF until they've signed or traded for a shortstop. They just can't do it. He has to be there. He has to be in the mix there. So it's just not a thing that you think they're going to do. So you mentioned the other one, Jake. Go ahead and go down that path because now you're presenting another option here. The Red Sox are kind of still in the mix for Crochet. I don't know how that changes the availability of Tristan Casas. I don't know what it's going to take, whether it's, the rumored Nolan Arenado maybe would be a good fit there. Alex Bregman comes in, whatever it is for third base, maybe something here where Boston still remains in the place where they want to move Devers over to first, right? And if it gets to that point, Casas becomes available. They can get some pitching. Casas deal probably starts also with Luis Ortiz, and then stack some other pitching and do something there. But you're going to have to put something in place there to go after somebody like Tristan Casas is a little bit different to me. And I feel like maybe would require some better players than even 2 guys from Cleveland because those guys are free agents after next year.
Yeah, I get that. And the only reason, like, I like the controllability, which is why it would cost more of Tristan Casas. But not only that, I don't love trading high end prospects. And I don't think you're going to have to trade a whole lot of high end prospects to get Casas. I think you're going to be trading 1 or 2 guys out of our possible rotation. They need pitching, and they need pitching now, not pitching in 2 or 3 years. So you're looking at like a Luis Ortiz, starting it there because they've been rumored to like him.
Mm-hmm.
You might be get them to bite on like Bailey Falter or somebody like that, and then you throw in probably 2 more prospects, but they don't have to be Ashcraft, Burrows. Like, they don't need to be those guys. They need to be maybe the next wave of guys. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you have to throw in Harrington or
Wait a minute. What do you mean high end? That you don't have to get rid of Burrows or Ashcraft, but you're willing to get rid of Harrington? What do you mean
he's
high
farther
end?
Away. He's farther away.
That's not what high.
Guys like I'm talking about guys that are they're in high minors, ready to come in.
I don't know that they're that much further away than Harrington. I mean, the Harrington's that much further away than them.
Maybe like a Xander Meath then. Maybe him.
Okay, so
I don't
maybe
know.
So when you're saying high end, you mean like high level?
Yeah,
like pitching in AAA.
And amongst our top prospects.
Okay. Well, I think Meath is going to be higher ranked than Burrows probably. But it's about how far away they are. Like what you were saying, it is about how far away they are. But like Harrington's going to be above all those guys. You know what I mean? Like you start with Chandler and Harrington, and then you go from there. I know that in the last one, Ashcraft may have been above Harrington, but I feel like that's going to change pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be okay sending them.
Yeah, it's Ashcraft 4, Harrington 5 on the last one for 2024. But then let's see, Xander Meath is 12. I guess Burrows isn't even on this list. Yeah, he is 16. But what you could do is, I mean, if like Xander Meath is in there, in which I don't know that he has to be to get, I don't know that he has to be to get Casas, but there's other guys too. I mean, you know what I mean? That maybe you save Meath for something bigger. I don't know what that looks like, but I mean, you've got some other guys. I think you probably keep a hold of Solomito for now, unless they're asking for him. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's guys though. There's plenty of guys you can trade.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think if you're saying they're looking for pitching, I think that it's Ortiz and then go with Ashcraft or Burrows that start there and then build. You know what I mean? From that point, I think with the way that Chandler and Harrington pitched last year, you're going to see both of them in Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah.
Chandler may be on opening day. If you deal away Ortiz, you might see Charrington, or you might see Chandler on Charrington. You might see Chandler on opening day. So there could be a deal out there for Casas where they can cash in on some young pitching, and the Pirates can get a first baseman who has 40 home run potential, even in Pittsburgh. I mean, he's a left-handed hitter.
And a good glove.
And a good glove. Dave says Harrington's a stud. Would not trade him. I'm going to be with Dave all day long. I am not trading. You're not getting Bubba or you're not getting Harrington. For me, you're not getting him. I don't know what it would take. I don't know what you'd be giving me to trade Harrington. I don't know what it would be. And it's not even because he has the Bubba Chandler ceiling, but I know he's going to be a reliable starter.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a good one. If you got that guy slotted in at 4, like you're stacked.
Fair.
You know what I'm saying? And you can see a no lefty rotation pretty soon for this team with Skeens and Keller and Jones, and then Chandler and Harrington. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Jones is almost your 5 at that point. There's no way, right? But it doesn't matter what order you put him in.
Right.
It's probably, as far as like talent level, it's probably Skeens, Chandler. And then the rest of the 3, I think they've all got their different things, but
I mean, for a guy like Tristan Cassis, I wouldn't mind dangling Mitch Keller.
Oh, the Pirates would. There's no way. You know what I mean? They're not. That's your only veteran right now. That's your staff leader. I know that Skeens is going to take that over, but they've already invested. I understand what you're saying, and that would be some money off the table. So I think there is some value there and some understanding that, like, yeah, maybe that's a good one, but
and it's a lot of control too.
But you gotta, I think you've got to have him on.
You got to sign another pitcher in order to make that happen. But
yeah, and I don't know, like, who are you I don't know. I'm not moving Keller right now. In a couple of years, I'll move him. And if you get a couple other guys extended, but I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from. It's the same argument as saying, like, how crazy would we be to trade Jared Jones? It just might work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those conversations where you're saying, like, wouldn't it be bonkers if this worked out to trade Mitch Keller? We'd clear up a ton of money that they won't spend anyway. That's the biggest problem. Is they're just too scared to spend money that they're not going to go there. So I don't know, man.
You guys are like way out on Tristan Cassis.
The
possible 40 homer guy.
The chat is not a big no on Cassis. I think because a lot of our fans and a lot of fans of this show, I've had a lot of conversations, they're afraid of strikeouts. And if this guy has a ton of power, but he also strikes out a lot, then I think that would be a good reason. I don't want to say afraid because that sounds negative. They don't like them. They want high average guys over high power guys with a lot of swing and miss. And that's fine. That's your preference. Me personally, I don't mind that. I think you need to have a couple of those guys in your lineup. One of them could be O'Neal Cruz. So it's pretty fair to say if we go after Cassis, now we're going to start to get to the place where we can't really afford to put Jack Swinsky in the lineup. If the good version of Jack Swinsky is power output with strikeouts, you know what I mean? And so, like, I would get that. If Cruz continues to strike out, then him and Cassis in the lineup is about all I want, as far as if Cassis continues to be that, or if he even was. Maybe I even have that wrong altogether. But this guy is definitely a potential 40 homer guy as soon as maybe next year, if he plays.
Yeah,
depending on what Boston does or if he goes somewhere else. 24 homers last year as a 23-year-old. Nope, that was in 23. He only played in 63 games last year, so still 13 homers in 63 games. Well, yeah, I mean, I see this. I get it. He's untouchable. You can't trade for Roman Anthony. Like, they've made that clear. So you're not going to get him. Now, if you can blow him away, possibly, but you're probably giving him Chandler in that case. So I don't see the Pirates playing on there. I mean, I'd rather have Chandler. So, you know what I mean? Just to go with the rest of this lineup. But no, looking for the numbers here, Jake. Yeah, I mean, his strikeout percentage in his 2 years that, take away 24. I mean, he's around 25%. That's actually not bad, but this past year, a little bit of a struggle at 31.7 on the strikeout percentage. The walk percentage is up, though. I mean, the guy's on base. I don't know.
An OPS plus 120. So
far in 222 games in his career, he's a 2.9 WAR player with 30 homers, a 250 average, a 357 on base, and that's after dipping down to a 337 this past year. For a full season of 22, he was 367 on base. You know what I'm saying? And 126 strikeouts, which is not crazy. a 129 OPS plus. I'm not sure what we don't like about him. Like, I'm looking at these numbers at 856 OPS, in his first full season at 23 years old. I'm not sure what we don't like here.
Yeah, 193 games at first base. He's where do you always go?
You get either one. What do you mean? Oh, like a fielding advance,
defensive run save, not per year.
Yep, just the regular defensive run save. Per year is per like 100 and so many games, 140 games or something like that, or 1,200 innings, I think is what it is.
Well, again,
they're in the negatives, so you know what I'm saying? They're in the negatives, but he's also hitting bombs, and he's getting on base. I like this, though. Dave White brings up Wilyer Abreu. I like that, too. So you can say, all right, well, maybe you don't even go to Cleveland at all. Maybe you don't. If you can get, I mean, you're not going to get Abreu and Casas. Like, I think that's going to be different. Unless they get Soto and somebody else at third base. Like, I can't imagine those guys both being available. But Roman Anthony's going to shove Abreu out of the way anyway. And Abreu just won a Gold Glove. He's the guy he actually did. But, like, yeah, I mean, I like Wilyer Abreu, and I would go there, too. Absolutely. But he's still like, and I understand you got your first base. I'll say this. The Pirates need to do better than just slot Cook in at first. It's not going to happen. They've got to do better than that this offseason. If they go into this thing with Cook, a starter anywhere, they didn't do their job.
I agree.
We have not seen enough. I like Billy Cook. We have not seen enough to get this guy. He's Connor Joe 2.0 with more speed and better defense. We've not seen enough to put this guy in a starting spot. If you're starting him, put Jack Sawinski out in right field. I mean, that's where we're at here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just not enough for him or Nick York to have a starting position yet. Maybe you see something else this year if somebody gets injured and he steps in. Maybe you see something else, but to me, I'm not going Cook at first yet. And really, Brian Reynolds, like throwing him 162 at first base, there is some pause there. As much as I think that with him and his legs under him, it's 30 homers at first. I like the Reynolds to first base move, but I don't think there's enough in the outfield. You're still doing the Jock and Lane Thomas thing in right field in order to get Wilyer Abreu in left, who just won a Gold Glove in right. So, like, even with Abreu, Reynolds is in left.
Yeah.
Or if he is comfortable in left field, you switch him. I haven't looked at his minor leagues or anything, but I don't know, man. All I'm saying is these are the types of options the Pirates have in front of them. It's going to have to come via the trade market right now, because if they try to do this, with the free agency, I don't know that it's going to work. I will bring this one up. Harrison puts in, I think Winker and Verdugo could make good fits. Right. And he's going into some more detail. They hit the sinker, slider, curveball, pitches Cruz and Reynolds struggle with. So, I mean, like, a little bit of depth there, a little bit of insight into that, which is good too. But Winker and Verdugo could be guys that are on the table to be another outfielder. Both of them. Well, I think Verdugo is going to be a little more of he would be more of I guess they're both left field. I don't know how the numbers really look. I know that Winker was looking at going back to the Reds. The Reds need outfielders. That might be a good fit for him to head back to Cincinnati, but they're there. I don't necessarily hate those moves. They're going to do
I'm not a big fan on Winker, but I like Verdugo.
Winker to me was the guy you got at the deadline last year that they didn't get. Yeah. That would have been a better move.
Yeah. I didn't mind that. I wouldn't have minded that move as much as, and I wouldn't mind having him. It's not like I don't
know. Dave White's asking, if the Pirates make a big move or two, will y'all have a special show here to discuss? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know here's what I do know. And we're wrapping this up now. This was good conversation. We don't know what they're going to do yet, but we'll continue to see. We know it's not going to be Conforto. We know it's not going to be Tyler O'Neill. So we kind of missed out on that. But as of right now, today's the Sunday, right? Today's Sunday. Yeah, today's Sunday. as of right now, we're shooting to be on here again on Thursday. I don't know what happens from here and there. Me and Jake have not talked about this. We can probably have a conversation about it. We probably have a conversation about it after we get off here right now. But I do know that the winter meetings go until Thursday, which is when we plan on being on here next. So if you don't hear from us, we'll be on Thursday to talk about all of it. If it's something major, I don't know. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll jump in and do something. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll get our schedules figured out and go from there. What we don't want is to talk about everything throughout the week and not have anything to talk about on Thursday. Unless we do a short show Thursday, which I might be in favor of because I'm going in to get surgery on Friday morning at like 6:30.
Oh.
So I'm having that thing. I got a thing on my hand that they're just gonna bone bossing, not, details, whatever, doesn't matter. It hurts to hit 800, so I didn't hit 800 last year. So get that thing out of there so I can hit 800 again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's say 700. We never reached the 800 goal. Not for a long time. We haven't. Yeah. Let's say 700. And I was, just a tick under 700 this year, which is, ticks me off. So let's get this thing out of my hand because it hurts. I have to turn around and hit right-handed all the time because I can't stand to hit left-handed. That's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not good. Whatever. So, Bucko Mike says, Jake is off to the Dominican to get ready for spring training. If I could tell you how many times I get something from Bucko Mike saying you're going to play some position for the Pirates this year. It's hilarious.
I will say this before we get off here. I'm already tired of seeing the Reds in on a bunch of people, and Pirates have not been talked about.
Yeah, and maybe there's a couple more minutes there. Maybe the last thing we talk about. The Pirates have been very quiet, and even the ones that they just missed out on, and even some of the ones that they've actually, like Aroldis Chapman, felt like it blindsided everybody.
Mm-hmm.
As a GM, and especially when we're talking trades, you want to hold your cards so that nobody can see them. And so, like, as fans, we want to know, but at the same time, there is that little bit of like, do we want to know? Do we want to know everything? Because then everybody else knows everything, and then, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of teams out here saying this, like Tristan Casas is available. Wouldn't it be better if nobody knew Tristan Casas was available except for other GMs? Wouldn't it be nice for Boston to be able to say, like, all right, I don't really want to get rid of Tristan Casas, but if you really want to talk me into it, here's what I need. Instead, a team's going to call them and be like, you're dangling the dude. I'm not sending you Harrington. I know you need to get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things where, like, you kind of want to hold things a little bit close to you so that you can still talk up what you want to talk up and say, I don't really want to get rid of Xander Meath, but if you want to pull him away from me, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe that's a guy, or maybe, Solomito, like, no, we're not really looking to trade Solomito. You really like him though? Okay, well, Naylor, but throw in Lane Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like this example.
Yeah.
But like, you want to keep things. The problem is that we don't have a lot of faith that that's what's going on.
Right.
And so we want to hear that they're trying because we doubt that they are.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it's worth saying. You do want to see that you just want to see a report somewhere that says the Pirates are talking to this guy. And it's important because they had conversations with O'Neill and Conforto and missed out. That's what you want to see. I mean, you'd rather see them sign those guys, but now that they're gone.
The Reds being talked about is directly related to them bringing in
Tito. Yeah.
Tito.
Francona was hired. They know
it. Yeah. Francona's there. So now everybody expects him to do everything and win right away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you bring Tito in for. You
Right.
bring him in to win.
Right. Yeah, maybe we'll
So-
talk about on another episode how long we think it'll be until Ellie gets moved to the outfield. He can't do it yet. If McLean's playing well and he's making errors again, once Francona gets a relationship with him a little bit more, he's out in the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I think. So it's the same path as Tatis took. Not quite O'Neal Cruz, but Tatis a little closer, a little younger, led the league in errors.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Still was all right at times, but still not good.
Yeah.
And McLean is really good. So just get him there. Anyway, Reds are dangerous. We need to watch out. They're in on the Crochet stuff. Or are they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're in on it.
They're in. There was one that they were in on, and then it was like, cool your jets a little bit. They're not in on that. But
Yeah.
it was they're in on Crochet, and then it's like, hold on, they're really not. They talked to them about Crochet before the Brady Singer signing, and then they're kind of out on it. They haven't talked again since they got Brady Singer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but there's other guys that they've been rumored around, talking to already. So Tyler O'Neill was one of them. Jock Peterson was one of them. I mean, they're looking for outfielders. Every name,
Right.
except for Teo right now. Every name's been linked to the Reds.
Yeah.
So we need to pay attention. I got to play some music so we can get the heck out of here. But we need to pay attention to them. Let's get things moving, Pirates. Let's get things moving. It's the winter meetings. It's time to go. It's time to act like you have some sort of urgency here when you can watch, other teams in our division doing well.
Yep.
Hey, one more for Dave Parker.
Yep.
Hall of Famer, Cobra. Let's get out of here. Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks!